Did you ever stop and think about the fact that some things are likely never going to go out of style? Like cheerleaders. They're always going to need those uniforms, and they're certainly always going to need those pretty bows that they put in their hair. And that's the philosophy of a company called POWERBows. They're making bows for cheerleading teams all around the world.
It came about after the girls wore their bows to competition. I made their bows for football season for the Little League, and one of the schools that also cheered with us asked where we got the bows. And being an assistant coach at the time, I was able to tell them, hey, I made those. And I said, oh, well, can you make them for our school? Okay, yeah, I can do that. And it just took off from there, and I was setting up at the little football game, selling bows to the girls, and one thing led to another. And I said, well, you know what, I think I can have a business with this, and got my first wholesale account and just started new designs after that.
Everything is done by hand. We're capable of probably producing about 4,000 bows a week, and there's only 3 people that fold, so 3 people fold about 5,000 bows in a week. The ribbon is literally cut every knot by hand. The only machine we use is to cut the bottom, and it is very hot, and so it sears it to make sure that it doesn't fray. But other than that, every single rhinestone is laid by hand. Everything is done by hand. We cut the sequins by hand, we glue it by hand, we do everything by hand except for cut the bottom of the bow.
With the process, the customer's going to call in, the sales team is going to take the order, we print it, get it into processing. It's going to go back to the ribbon department where everything is hand cut. After that, if it gets material or rhinestones, it's going to go to their department. There, they're going to apply the material and the rhinestones. From that department, it's going to go to processing. Processing is where it's all folded, it's finished, it's trimmed, seared so it doesn't fall apart. And then from that department, it's going to go to shipping and quality control, which is Jonathan, and he is a stickler for everything. I mean, if there's anything wrong with it, something's crooked, if there's a thread hanging off, he's going to send it back, and he says, you need to fix it.
I'm really good at coming up with stuff that people don't have, so if I see something that's kind of like new, I can take it and flip it around and make it into something even better every time. One of the things I really enjoy is the designing. A lot of times we have customers call in and they're sometimes indecisive as to what they really want, so we will take what they've given us, and based on that we'll do 3 or 4 different designs and then present those to them, and they choose from that. But it gives us room to be really creative, and that's how we come up with a lot of the new designs that we put on our websites. 15
years now behind you. As you look towards the future, what are some of the things you have in mind?
This week we came up with a new design of Power Quad, which is a bow that doesn't have the tails because the teams aren't liking the tails as much flopping around. So we invented a bow that still has all the glitz and rhinestones, but is just a bow, not a tailed bow. And it doesn't have the V-notches and stuff like that. So I think that's really going to take off very quickly.
We will just go out there what the uniform looks like and try to match it. And usually they'll tell us if they want certain colors or certain rhinestones, and then we'll just come up with a new design, send them about 2 to 4, how many ever. Sometimes they ask for a certain amount, and then we'll email them or ship it to them, and then they just tell us which ones they want. A woman was getting married, and she called us and told us to design a bow, and we were like, why do you want a bow to get married? And she was like, well, because whenever I was younger, I was a cheerleader, and I promised my mom that whenever I was getting married that I would wear a bow at my wedding. Well, her mom had passed away 2 months before that, and she promised her mom that she would wear a bow. So she ordered a bow, and she sure did wear it on her wedding day. So I thought that was pretty cool.
She just collected 3 additional bows for her bag. Every competition that she goes to, she always gets at least 2 bows to be on her bag for souvenirs. So her goal is to cover her whole bag by the end of the season, which is the end of the season. Going into the next season, her whole bag should be big for bows.
Working together as a team is beneficial to the company, and that's what we all just try to do. And I try my hardest to be beneficial to Tammy and POWERBows to make the company succeed as much as we can. Each department gets a copy of the invoice that's printed out of orders, and I go through the white copies, which I get a copy of it, and see which orders go out that day and see if I have them all, and I either fold in processing or I come back here and help out the girls back here in sequence and do whatever I need.
It makes me look pretty. It makes me feel like cheerleading is really good. They represent who I am and everything. They work. So original, they're like no other. They're good quality and they are just fantastic looking. They're like nobody else's bows.
My sense of achievement is taking something that people really didn't recognize. Back in 98, 99, a bow was a piece of ribbon that was just tied in your hair, and then you do flip-flops on the football field and they'd fall out. Now, they're buying their bow before they buy their uniform, and I like to think that I had a big part to do with that. The sequence and the rhinestones adding to the bows, we started all that. And to see some amazing cheerleaders at these national competitions wearing our bows on there, and the little girls running up saying, "Oh my gosh, POWERBows is here." That's I think the most exciting thing, and that's really fulfilling.
The popularity of POWERBows continues to surprise even Tammy to this day. She'd be the first one to tell you she never expected things to be this successful over a decade ago. And yet when you put things like creativity and consistency and commitment to excellence together, how can you expect anything but success? And that's one thing that POWERBows continues to enjoy every single day.